So hi guys, for introduction, corona disease COVID-19 is an infectious disease that broke down during 2020. COVID-19 not only exposed the vulnerability of most industries, especially industry that relies on air travel and tourism, but resulted in the exponential increase of unemployment in Malaysia. This disease shocked everyone and a whole new environment to adapt. It has caused many bad effects that eventually affect every single person, including a student who struggled with new environment and workers who lost their job.
I would be explaining the background of coronavirus pandemic of unemployment of Malaysia. My first point is that a lot of industries has been affected by the pandemic. Nothing could have prepared us from the sudden impact of the pandemic that came out of the blue. Thus, a lot of people has become unemployed because of the impact on the economy the pandemic has brought us, as well as surviving in a new version of life norms at the moment. Thus, there will be a lot of adaptation that must be done to conquer this problem. My second point is that when it was during the pandemic, the government has implemented a strict lockdowns for a lot of industrial and business sectors. By this, a lot of people that has permanent job in their hand would be losing their grip and become unemployed. This also can lead them to anxiety of constantly thinking they would be losing their job. Lastly, my point is that no matter what happened to the government and the citizen of Malaysia, they would brainstorm together any ideas that needed so that they can conquer this problem together by doing a lot of efforts to decrease the number of unemployment in our country, which would be explained more further in the presentation. That's all for me. I will be passing this to the next presenter.
My part, I will explain about overview of country. There's 2 points that I will describe. Number 1 is unemployment is highly dependent on economic activity, and number 2 is why can unemployment never fall to zero. Unemployment is highly dependent on economic activity. In fact, growth and unemployment can be thought of as two sides of the same coin. When economic activity is high, more production happens overall, and more people are needed to produce a higher amount of goods and services. When economic activity is low, firms reduce their workforce and unemployment rises. In that sense, unemployment is countercyclical, meaning it rises when economic growth is low and vice versa. The next point is why can unemployment never fall to zero? The first aspects are market clearing. The idea of clearing the market means that in a perfectly competitive market, supply and demand reach equilibrium, ensuring that all available goods and services are bought and sold at a specific price. The second aspect are measuring unemployment. Not all people who don't work are unemployed. To be considered unemployed for government statistics, a person must not only be out of work but also be actively looking for a job. For example, by sending out the resume. In the United States, unemployment is measured by a monthly survey of households conducted for the Bureau of Labor Statistics and covers a representative sample of more than 100,000 individuals. The labor force include both those with jobs and those looking for them. The unemployment rate is the percentage of the labor force that is looking for a job.
Okay, next for my part, I will present to you guys about overview of unemployment. Unemployment refers to the state of being without a job or a source of income. It is also a complex and multifaceted issue influenced by various factors, including economic conditions, government policies, technological change, and global trends. It is a key economic indicator that reflects the number of percentage of people in the labor force who are actively seeking employment but are unable to find work. This got more serious when COVID-19 suddenly broke down in 2020 and affected the whole world. The COVID-19 pandemic has a profound impact on global economy, leading to unemployment condition.
As we know that coronavirus pandemic had significant impact on Malaysia economy, including the issue of unemployment that leading to various consequences for unemployment in Malaysia. So for the first one is job loss. Many businesses being forced to close or cut down operation due to travel restriction, social distancing measure, and restriction on public meetings. This can conclude that, especially in sectors like retail, hospitality, and travel, were among the hardest harmed. The second one is reduced hiring. Businesses were more reluctant to hire new staff members because of the pandemic's impact on the economy. There were fewer employment opportunities for job candidates because of several industries stopping their hiring procedure due to economic uncertainty. The third one is decrease in consumer spending. Travel restriction and widespread economic uncertainty, consumer spending fell drastically. This results in lower sales and consequent job loss among businesses that depend on customer demand.
Next, I will present about the monetary and fiscal policy to overcome unemployment. So, the difference between monetary policy and fiscal policy is that monetary policy is a broader concept that encompasses the overall management of government financial resources, while fiscal policy is more focused on how the government manages its income and expenses to achieve economic goals such as growth and stabilization. In addition, the government needs to lower the tax rate so that disposable income increases. This will affect more purchasing power and consumer demand, as well as an increase in aggregate spending. Tax rates being lowered may have a positive effect on employment, investment, and economic activity, but its actual effect on reducing unemployment may depend on a number of variables, including the number one is reducing tax, boosts people's disposable income, which encourages consumer spending. This could have a good effect on businesses, particularly those in the retail and service industry, and may even result in the creation of jobs. Next, economic competitiveness and confidence. It's getting investment. A nation's appeal to both domestic and foreign investors can be increased by lowering its tax rates, which may result in the creation of jobs in the industries that draw these capital inflows. And lastly, for the monetary policy is enhance economic contact. Policy environment and economic conditions that cuts ability to create jobs is contingent upon the macroeconomic conditions, monetary policies, state of the world economy, and corporate sentiment. Other than that, the fiscal policies used by the government in Malaysia is to increasing spending more on service and goods. This is aimed at increasing aggregate demand, which will encourage producers to increase production, especially of goods and service. However, while gaining federal government recognition for goods and service can have a positive impact on employees, effectiveness in countering player transfers to institutions is a factor. For example, budget restriction. This is to avoid long-term financial problems. Government spending must be sustainable and within budget restriction. Next, efficiency and effectiveness. Funding has to go toward worthwhile ventures and investments that strengthen the economy over the long run. Lastly, economic conditions. The effectiveness of increased spending in reducing unemployment can vary based on the overall economic conditions, including the state of the global economy, trade dynamics, and monetary policies.
So for my part, I will explain about recommendation to overcome this issue. So first, my point is employment placement assistant. The term employment placement assistant describes the service and support given to job seekers to aid them in locating opportunities that fit their needs. I can see that numerous organizations, including governmental bodies, for-profit, business, non-profit, and educational institutions, may provide this help. The objective is to make the job search process easier, increase the likelihood of landing a job, and thereby lower the unemployment rate overall. Second, my point is supporting the growth small business. So this effort should be implemented by the government to reduce the unemployment rate in our country. This by helping the development of small and medium-sized shop or enterprise. This is because our country's economy cannot only depend on foreign investors who come to invest in our country, because maybe one day they will withdraw investment and many workers will be fired. So that's why supporting the growth small business is one of my point in overcome this issue. The next one, which is the last point, is private sector involvement. The role of the private sector, especially the businessmen involved, they need to be willing to make sacrifice when the country is experiencing an economic crisis, such as the recent COVID-19 pandemic. Their sacrifice can be given in the form of bonus and so on, so that the money can be used to ensure that the company continues to exist and not to draw away workers that can increase unemployment in our country. So that's all from me. So we have come to the final part, which is conclusion. So what I can conclude in this presentation, which is this unemployment problem can indeed trigger instability if the country fails to control it properly. Based on the experience of our neighbor countries such as Indonesia, the government together with the parties involved need to realize how important this cooperative attitude is, so that the economy of our country can be restored in the near future. Without cooperation from all parties, these issues of economic problems will continue to exist and cause many problems for the people to find job opportunities, especially young people who have qualification. So that's all.